Hello everyone, the 316 LEGO Maniac 360 here. I'm back with another Monday Lightning Collection review. This time it's the SPD Omega Ranger and the Uniforce Cycle, which was an Amazon exclusive and retailed for $29.99. This was the, second or third. It was the third SPD figure I got. But truth be told, I think it's still my favorite. So for $30, you get a figure, which usually goes for 20. And you also get a bike, yeah, a vehicle, something the figure can actually interact and use. I'm just going to tell you right off the bat, I don't like Amazon. I don't like ordering from them. But since this is an Amazon exclusive and I'm collecting SP, I had to buy it. With that being said, for $30, this is a very, very, very good deal. Now, I want to take a look at the accessories first, and then the figure, and then finally we'll look at the bike. So I'm just going to set that to the side here. And let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories. Not a lot of accessories. So on the figure, you have two trigger finger holding hands. I don't know why he needs trigger finger holding hands, but he has trigger finger holding hands. Next up, hand-wise, you get a right hand which is kind of splayed out. You know, like high five, dude. And then you also have one with a, some lightning coming out of it. They're pretty much the exact same hand mold, but this one is in, the slightly more rubberized plastic. This is a bit harder. And this is all painted in white down here. At first I thought it was dual molded, but when I look closer towards the, hinge joint here, you can actually see some of the transparent plastic poking through. Very hard to see. And probably the smallest ever accessory we've gotten. So small, I almost lost it today. It's a containment card. They actually made a containment card. And it's so small. Like, let's see. What would be so... Okay, here's a Lego stud. Look how small this is. It's it's smaller than a Lego stud. It's insane. Look how tiny that is. Like, I can't believe they actually molded this. I've been holding it upside down the whole time. There we go. So you can see SPD. You can barely see SPD at the top. Like, it's so hard to see. And then at the bottom, it's got... I can barely read it out, but what I'd recommend doing with this is giving it a very, very light wash just to bring out the text in there, because it's impossible to see at times. So if you don't want to lose this, what I do is I usually have him posed with that effect piece. I just stick this in his hand, and it usually doesn't fall out. Like, it's in there pretty good. So if you're posing him without this hand, definitely put the containment card in that hand, because you're going to lose it. And here's the figure. This figure uses Wes's torso, so which is the smaller one, which is a bit more compacted. And look, here's the thing. This figure is very inaccurate. There's a lot of problems with it. But honestly, truth be told, because of the value of this figure and how much it goes for, I'm willing to slightly forgive it, because you get the figure, you get the accessories, you get a vehicle, $30. How is that not a good deal? Like, you can't tell me that's not a bad deal. Again, obviously, the paint is wrong. I know it's wrong. But do I care? Not really. So why is it wrong? The problem is not that the paint looks bad, because I think they did an okay job here. The issue is that it's supposed to be much, much thinner. It shouldn't be this thick. Like, instead of being, from blue to blue here, it really should have been just the gold section. Like, just that wide. But no, they didn't do it that way. There is one really cool thing about this figure that, as far as I know, no other figure has done. So if you take this hand off here, man, that was really in there. You can actually take off his morpher. And why is that the case? Well, the cool thing about the morpher is it actually moves. That's right. Because his morpher is his main weapon, Hasbro decided, you know, we need to make it so that he can actually hold the morpher in his hand. So I'm going to go ahead and swap out for his effect piece hand here. That's how I usually have him displayed, like I said. So if you wanted to, you can take this and spin it, pull that up, and then take his other hand. And this can be a little bit of a challenge, but he can hold it. Just be patient with it. But yeah, look at that. He can actually hold that in his hand. That's awesome. Like that was just some really good foresight from Hasbro, being like, this is his main weapon. Let's make sure he can use it. Fantastic. Great job, Hasbro. So as far as I know, this figure is almost all new molding. The legs are nothing new, but the boots are just standard SPD boots that we first saw in SPD Red. You know, good boots. You know, basically everything from like here down is nothing new. What is new though, the belt here, it has no holster, so you know, completely brand new sculpt. Obviously the forearms, both of them, and the morpher here, all the hands except the just trigger finger holding ones. Unfortunately, they didn't bring over SPD Red's upper arm, or forearm, not forearm, shoulder. There we go. Because this is just printed on there, which really, really sucks. It's just a print. I really wish that was molded, but probably because of the size of the torso, if they used that shoulder piece on SPD Red, it wouldn't have looked right. And then, lastly, obviously, the head's new mold. Hold on, I'm going to have to bend him downward so I can fit him on camera. I do have an issue with this one, though. It's going to be hard to pick up on camera, but you see I have a big-ass ding in the helmet. And, yeah, it's kind of nasty. I had a similar issue with my Dragon Shield Black Ranger back there, but this one's almost like it's like someone drove their nail into it. Anyway, so another inaccuracy is that he, on the box, obviously, the box art here, you can see that it goes all the way around the visor. Here it's only at the top. Honestly, for this figure, though, it's really not that noticeable. This is probably they probably should have stuck with this, but they didn't. Ugh. SPD, poor SPD. Each figure's helmet is different. Each figure's helmet is different. Ugh. It's just nasty, but very nice helmet, though. It's got all the right details. Now, another thing, this is missing a lot of paint on the back. This you know, 6 should have carried to the back here, this line, but it didn't. Honestly, I don't think it's really that big a deal, but I understand why people are upset, and if I was one of those people, I'd probably be upset too. Because I'd say for the most part, Hasbro does an excellent job with the molds, but the paint is where they're lacking. However, the newest figures, like Lost Galaxy Blue over there, has done a really good job with paint. So when it's good, it's fantastic, but when it's bad, it's very noticeable. Alright, so what I think is excellent about the set is you get the Uniforce Cycle. You actually get the vehicle. You know, because this figure, you know, doesn't have any weapons, doesn't have an alternate head that they wanted to make. What accessories could they put? Because his weapon is his morpher, so they could have a hand, and then they could have another hand. They did a containment card, but what really sold me on this was the Uniforce Cycle. You get a vehicle for the first time in the line, as far as I remember. So you do have to do a bit of assembly when taking this out of the box. So these down here, you have to peg in. The only issue is you can't unpeg them. So once they're in there, they're in there. But the handlebars here, you can remove these. I don't want to remove them because I have them in there pretty good, and you know, I just don't want to take them out. But you can remove these, but again, not going to. And I gotta say, I think they did an okay job with the Uniforce Cycle. There are some issues I have. First things first, you have this, which can move. So he can go into, you know, his Uniforce Cycle mode. Or you can go like that, because there is the wheel on the back here, which you can do that. But then you can have the kickstand, and it can stand up on its own. The wheel itself moves too. I do have an issue with mine, though. Let me see if I could find it. Okay, this might be a little hard to see on camera, so I'm going to do my best here. But you can see it's not perfectly circular. There's a ding right there. And there's a really big ding right here. See, the problem is this is a harder plastic, so if I used a hairdryer on this, I don't think it would do anything. I mean, look, I could try, but again, I don't think it would do anything. I'd have to get like a hairdryer and a hammer. So my wheel does spin. It just doesn't spin very well. So it doesn't get in the way, thankfully, but it still bugs me. There is a lot of missing paint on this, and well, this up here should have been transparent red because that's what it looked like on the show. But you can see the gold striping here just stops, and then there's just this big gap of plastic where you can see where they could have painted something, but they didn't. But there's so much paint on this thing anyway, they had to make some kind of, you know, decision on what to remove or what not to remove. But yeah, very nice vehicle. This side has all these screws. That's kind of why I waited to show this side. It doesn't look bad. If you wanted to, you could probably fill in the screws yourself with some, you know, like hobby tape or whatnot. But I don't know why they put the screws on here because this is bolted in. Like, there's no way, as far as I can tell, to remove that. So I don't know why they did that. The screws are probably the worst part about this. But, you know, at least you have an option if you want to, like, customize this. But anyway, so what you all wanted to see is probably him on the bike. So I'm going to do my best here. This might take a moment to really get him all lined up, because it might take a minute. So his hands do go on the handlebars, but you might have to... There you go. Okay, so he doesn't really sit down well in this if you want to have him sit down proper. So like you can have him sit down in here. I'm not saying you can't do it. It's just very, very difficult to get him in a position where it looks like he's sitting down, his feet on the footrests. Because I'll show you. So like I have him sitting down here, right? But in order to get his feet on the feet rests, you gotta push them in. But it doesn't always want to go. And as you can see, when I push this foot up here, it raises him up off the seat. So getting this figure on here can be a pain. So what I like to do is I like to actually put his feet behind the footrest, which obviously you're not supposed to do, but at least it works given the situation. And then just like the box art here, you can have him splayed out like that. One interesting thing to note though, on the box art here, which I will go ahead and flip this to the back, is that the morpher is in gray and the paint is proper. The paint is much smaller, much thinner. Yeah. One other thing I want to note is if you do have the figure on here and the footrest, if it's slightly forward and you play with it too much, eventually it's going to start to sag. I played with this a little too much, so it's not as strong as it once was, but you know, you can have him sit up on here and it does work. So let's go ahead and do a size comparison. I'd compare him to all the SPD figures, but I don't want to have to dig them out. So let's go ahead and start off with probably his closest counterpart, SPD Blue. So when he's on the bike, you know, pretty comparable. Like this is what I would expect height-wise in the show. And then a figure I have reviewed from SPD, SPD Green, which these guys are the exact same height. So yeah. And then before I forget, let me go ahead and show the height difference when he's off the bike. There's really not too big a height difference when he's off the bike, but I thought I'd show it anyway because people would be interested. Like, I'd say he's just slightly smaller because of the smaller torso, but like not by much. Like his helmet's really big and that kind of really fills the gap. But yeah, so you know, at the start of the video I said this was $30 and I couldn't find a better value per figure, like per what you get, and I stick by that. Again, I don't like Amazon. It's an Amazon exclusive. Had to buy it. You know, I would have bought it on eBay, but you know, why would I do that when it's $30? Go ahead and show you the size of the box here. You already saw the front, and there's the bottom. And that shows you the instructions. Kind of nice that they did that. Oop. Anyway, so if I haven't already stated it enough, yes, I think this figure is worth the money. Absolutely. Get him now before, he's gone forever. I usually don't rate things out of 10, but if I had to give this guy a rating out of 10, I would give him a 9, just because of the issues with the paint. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for next week, another Monday Lightning Collection review. Thank you guys for watching so much. Again, just make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, of course. I'm doing real good on subscribers lately. View count could be a little better, but I'm not going to complain too much. I still don't make money off of this channel, but anyway. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.